Know what that was. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here, Gear4music, UK, Gregory Koch here, on behalf of our Fishman friends, and I'm playing my new Fishman Gristle-Tone pickups, the Fluence pickups. I got involved with Fishman and Fluence about 6 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, and now they are installed in my beautiful new Reverend signature guitar. But let's just review a little bit as to what's going on with these Fluence pickups and what they all do. I tried to kind of do a bunch of different stuff, and that first thing you could see me grabbing this little button right here and pushing it in, pushing it out, and turning the volume up and turning it down and doing some tone control wahs and all that kind of crazy stuff so that you can see just how doggone versatile and dynamically sensitive these pickups are. I'm just going straight into this 64 Deluxe reverb amp that the hand-wired version that Fender has out these days, and I'm into the bright channel. I got it up at about 7. EQ's pretty flat. I got the treble at 7 and the bass at about 5, reverb just a hair under 3. So just going straight into the amp so you can really hear what these pickups are all about. So to just kind of give you an overview of why Fishman even got involved in the electric guitar game to begin with, because of course they're known for making the preeminent acoustic pickups and amplifiers and preamps and all that kind of stuff. So what happened was about 6 years ago, I think-ish, I got a call from a buddy of mine who I used to work with quite a bit in the Fender days, and who was working with Larry Fishman on the development of these electric guitar pickups. So what happened is that there was a gentleman who was involved in the aerospace industry, who was a guitar player, who worked quite a bit with these really, really thin circuit boards. And he had a thought of, you know, what you could do is instead of having copper windings surround magnets for regular conventional pickup use, you could actually use these really, really thin circuit boards and have a coil printed on those and then stack those up instead of having copper windings. And then that would serve as a template that you could then voice to be anything that you wanted it to be. And in doing so, you could have multiple voices of those same pickups. So it was pretty advanced technology, of which Fishman was suited to flush out, because with all the different software staff that they had for the development of the triple play and other things that they have involved, there's a lot of MIT talent at Fishman, so they had the wherewithal to be able to take this kind of blank canvas of a template for making pickups and flush it out. So what they were able to do is take and why would you want this to begin with? Well, with single coil pickups, obviously, the greatest single coil pickups of all time. They sound magnificent, however, they are subject to interference, 60 cycle hum. I don't know, apparently over here in the UK you have a different thing. It's not 60 cycle hum, but there's noise. There's electronic interference that happens with these pickups. And as a result, there's always been attempts over the years to have pickups to get rid of the noise. Up until this point, those have always been an effort that is, it's kind of your utility instrument. It's not the instrument that you're your go-to for tone and inspiration per se. So what these pickups allow you to do is they were able to, the Fishman folks were able to take a classic single coil pickup, kind of analyze it every which way from Tuesday, and look at it on a computer program that they had and say, okay, well, here's the frequencies we like, here's the frequencies we don't like, we want to get rid of this stuff, we want to keep this stuff, and be able to really fine tune it. So what I like to do when I do my demos of what these pickups are all about and why anyone should care, the reason why I cared was because back in the day when I was working with with Fender quite a bit. We were going to come up with a signature pickup that didn't come to fruition, but they asked, well, what would you want out of a pickup? And I said, well, I want a pickup that you want to use first and foremost because it sounds great. It's the sound that you're going for, but I also want it to be noiseless. And the reason why I say that is because usually it starts the other way around. It's noiseless and it sounds pretty good. And I was like, no, I want it to be the pickup you want to use and it's noiseless. And then I want it to look normal. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when a pickup gets rid of the noise, it's either got dual blades or it's got claws or fangs or beaks or whatever they needed to do to make it get rid of the noise, which is fine and dandy. But, you know, given my druthers, I'd rather have a tele neck pickup look like a conventional pickup and bridge pickup and so on and so forth. So that was my other criteria. And then I also wanted the ability to have some kind of an incremental boost on board the guitar. Just something where I could press a button or a push-pull pot that would give me a second voice that was just a little hotter and a little meatier. So as I began talking to the Fishman folks and figuring out what this Fluence technology could all achieve, I realized that it would tick all those boxes. So for me, I was like, well, this is what I've been looking for forever. So we started messing around with it. And the one thing that they did tell me initially that was a little bit of a put off is like, look, because of the fact that we are putting together a preamp that's going to address that blank canvas of what they call the Fluence core, which is those stacked circuit boards with the coils on them, there will need to be a battery involved. And I'm like, you know, I don't want a battery in my guitar. That's just not me, you know? And they're like, don't worry about it. We've got new ways of dealing with this stuff. We've got a lithium-ion battery option that you can charge up with a mini USB, your phone charger, basically. And for an hour and a half charge, you'll get 300 hours of plugged-in playing time. And I'm like, well, that kind of takes care of that, doesn't it? So let me just get into what my pickups do, and then I'll kind of go to the single width pickups, which are on this Strat, and the classic humbuckers. There's a bunch of different iterations now, but I'll go through these three so you can get kind of what's going on. So each Fluence pickup at this point has two different voices. And I don't want you to think about it as, well, there's one voice and then you're just adding something to the second voice to get a little bit more meat and a little bit more volume. Because of the way these pickups are, they're literally becoming a different set of pickups when you press the button in this case, or in the other case of these other pickups, push-pull the tone control. Imagine it as like they're taking out one set of pickups and popping another one in at a moment's, you know, instantaneously. So in the case of the tele pickups, I sent out a bunch of my different guitars and they analyzed the pickups every which way from Tuesday, and then we reconvened and voiced the pickup. And what we were able to do, we had, in the cases of all these guitars, we had a shuttle guitar. And so what that means is that there was a guitar that you were able to take the pickups out, the regular single coil pickups or humbuckers, whatever we were going for, the non-Fluence pickups, we were able to take those out via just 2 1/4-inch jacks on each side of the pickup and pop the other pickups in right away and instantaneously be able to hear back and forth between the 2 pickups and then make adjustments as we went, because the Fluence pickups were hooked up to a computer with ways to analyze and to alter the sound, until I was convinced that after we were done voicing the pickups that I actually preferred the sound of the Fluence pickups over whatever regular conventional style pickups we were trying to voice them after. So in the case of these pickups, what we did is we basically have the 2 sounds that we like to call. One is a white guard pickup sound, which is teles of the late 50s, early 60s. But in layman's terms, what's going on here is it's a little brighter, a little bit more air around the note, and it's not quite as outputty. I should mention the fact, too, that you don't lose any highs when you turn down the volume, so it's got like a treble bleed switch already in the pickups. I mean, that's just one of the advantages of the way that these pickups operate. But the sweep of the volume, just beautiful. I mean, the taper. So with a conventional old school rig like this, where I've got this amp on about 7, when I turn the volume down, get a nice clean sound. Turn the volume up. And that's the neck pickup sound. Usually on, T-style, Telly type guitars, the neck pickup is kind of wimpy in comparison to the bridge pickup. So we were able to get a really, really excellent sounding, very Telly-esque sounding neck pickup, but with some girth to it. When I go to the bridge pickup, it sounds the way that it should. In the middle position too, we got a nice little. Or like a. So that's just the white guard sounds, okay? But as you can see, with manipulating the volume control, I got all these different shades of glorious tone. But if I press this little button in here, it unleashes the second sound, which is more of a black guard sound. So it's gonna be an early 50s Telly sound. I'll turn the volume down so you can really hear. So in an old school rig like this, where I'm just going straight into the amp with no effects, just going straight in and turning it up, I have this extra little boost. So I can be on that bridge pickup and be cruising around, going. Get the idea. You get all the different colors of the rainbow, as it were. Now with my pickup set, what we're calling the Fluence Gristle Tone pickups for Telecaster, they come with not only the pickups, but they come with the control panel. Because in this, of course, you've got the ability to change the sounds, the taper of the volume control, the tone control wahs like it should. Okay, those are all the pickup selections in just the first voice, which is kind of adapted from a 54 Strat type pickup, okay? Now, if I pop up this tone control, it's going to give me the second voice, which is going to be more meaty and a little bit more output. And if I turn down the volume, You get the idea. It sounds magnificent, and of course, no 60-cycle hum. So when you get the single width Fluence pickups from our friends at Fishman, it comes with the pickups and it comes with the volume and tone pots. There is an ability to have a already pre-assembled pick guard as well. They do have versions now with the single width with a humbucker in back and all that other kind of stuff. But when you get these pickups, it comes with a 9-volt battery option. So the 9-volt battery is going to last for 300 hours, but for an extra stipend, you can get the lithium-ion battery option, which is what this is here. You see it in the back here. It's a little thicker than a regular Strat back panel, but it's nothing that you would even notice. But it has a lithium-ion battery back here, and there's your mini USB input and the little light that tells you, red, you're charging, and green, you're done. You're ready to rock. With these pickups also, there is this ability to have a little filter on here. I have the first iteration. I don't even have this on my guitar because I liked it the way it came. But, there's a difference between old school Strat guys who like the bright and more of a kind of people who like a modern Strat sound, which isn't quite as bright. And so there's the ability to have a little filter, and that's on this second tone control. So here's the fully bright. Here's the not so bright. As opposed to. But you get the idea. Pretty doggone cool. So those are the Fishman Fluence single width pickups for Strats or any kind of guitar like this. Now, there is also, I'm going to go over to this, they have a Godin, however you want to say it, a guitar with the classic humbuckers in it. I'm going to grab that real quick like. And initially when we started voicing the classic humbuckers, like, hey, let's voice the humbuckers. I'm like, well, why would you want to do humbuckers? Because it's right in the name. They get rid of the hum already. But then they're like, well, yeah, but you're missing the point about the fact that we can make them sound in a way that we want and also make the most consistent pickups of all time. That's one thing I forgot to mention about these. But another advantage of the technology is that I don't care who the pickup manufacturer is, if it's a conventional pickup that's wound, you can take the exact same type of pickup by whatever big name manufacturer and line up 20 different sets, and they're all going to be a little different. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. And that kind of lends itself to this whole mythology about pickups, about mine are a little bit better, or these are a little bit, whatever. There's all kinds of different opinions about pickups and how they operate and how they sound. With the way that these pickups are made, every set's going to sound the same. That does not mean that every set you put them in is going to make every guitar sound the same. They will still reflect whatever wood and all the different minutia that goes in to make each individual guitar sound the way that it does. But you won't have to worry about it as, I wonder if the pickups are having an effect on the sound. It's like, no. You're hearing the guitar because the pickups are going to sound the same from, whatever set, because that's the way that they operate. Anyway. So with the idea of the humbuckers, the initial voice that we went after was a PAF. The original Seth Lover PAF was, the early PAFs were very bright sounding pickups. A lot of people think of, humbuckers as being this, lots of output, mid-rangey and very throaty sounding thing, which of course people started overwinding them over the years to get more and more gain and stuff like that. But the initial pickups were a brighter sound that most people think. If you ever play an old Burst Les Paul or any of the standards from 57 to 1960, if you get a chance to play an old one, you'd be surprised what a bright sounding guitar they actually are. I always refer to them as like Tellys on steroids. But the first voice of these classic humbuckers from Fishman are voiced like the old Seth Lover pickups. But what's very interesting about these pickups is that, again, I'm not going to touch the EQ on the amp. I just plugged in this guitar right after I got done playing my signature Reverend and then the Strat. Now I'm plugging in this guitar with the humbuckers and I'm not messing with the EQ, and you're going to hear, especially, usually what would happen in that scenario when you're plugging in a humbucker guitar, it'd be really muddy sounding. It'd sound like you'd have a wet towel over the amp and you'd have to crank the treble in order to get your ears to kind of adjust to the sound of the different frequencies and so on and so forth. But the way that these pickups operate, you can pick up a humbucker guitar right after playing the other guitars with Fluence pickups, and it's going to sound like the best case scenario of humbucker neck pickup and bridge pickup, but without adjusting the EQ or anything else. I don't know why it does that, but it's awesome. So if I just go to the bridge pickup here and that's the other thing too, I can bring the volume down and not have to worry about losing any high-end frequency because it's already got that kind of built-in treble bleed, if you will. Down to the bridge pickup. To get the second voice for the pickups, you pop up the tone control. You get the idea. So all those sounds are I'm just going straight into this deluxe. There's no gain pedals, no nothing. So again, these pickups come with the pickups themselves, the volume and the tone pots, and a 9-volt battery option. You can get a back panel charger for it. Same thing like the Strat, it's an extra stipend, but it does have the lithium-ion battery in it. And you can plug it in, and again, hour-and-a-half charge, you get 300 hours of playing time. And there are a bunch of other different iterations now of the Fluence pickups. There's a bunch of signature artists from Tosin Abasi to Devin Townsend, a bunch of heavyweight cats that have signature pickups that are more of kind of the modern humbuckers. There are other pickups coming on down the line. This is new technology. There's more and more stuff being added to the Fluence line. And it's very, very exciting stuff because when you get a chance to kind of sit down and play it and do it vice versa to standard pickup options, it's really quite illuminating. For me, I personally am so used to using them, it's very difficult for me sonically to get used to using something else. Lately, I just go to gigs with my guitar, a chord, and I've got a new signature amp that has some different gain stages on it. That's all I bring, and because it just gives you the ability to control it all within your hands. But even if I'm in a situation like this where I'm plugging straight into a deluxe, I could totally do a gig and have the ability to get clean sounds, slightly overdriven sounds, and piggy sounds all right then and there, and all within your grubby little mitts. So anyways, there you have it, folks. Thank you so much. Greg Koch here on behalf of our friends at Fishman here at Gear4music. We'll see you on the flippity flop. Adios.